Our story is about an innocent man sitting in prison because of a bad divorce, an angry ex-wife, a vindictive ex-wife who said, if you ever leave me, you'll pay for the rest of your life. I met our investigative reporter through Craigslist, believe it or not. She was a former police detective from Tucson, Arizona. She'd worked in the child sex abuse department for 3 of her 13 years there. And she took one look at this case. She read everything, I mean, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pages. And she said, Fran, there was no investigation. They couldn't arrest Steve based on what they've got. All my years as a police officer, I never saw anything close to this injustice. She said, it's obvious your son is innocent, and it had to have been obvious to them too. So, of course, I didn't know anything about the sex search aspect of this story until he was already in love with this other woman. And my daughter-in-law was coming to me begging me to help because this woman is crazy. Never ceased to amaze me. The stories she would come up with, there were absolute bald-faced lies that anybody that knew the situation or the story or even knew her, nobody believed what she'd say. When Steve came home from the Middle East, he was the same old Steve. There was no PTSD. He came home Steve. I was led to believe that the woman my son was having an affair with was trying to poison him, to kill him, and that if I didn't step in to help her save him, she was going to kill him. She would never be the one who would do the dirty deed. She managed to find someone else, a co-conspirator. So my ex-daughter-in-law came to me and said, I've got this idea. I know how I can get Steve to come home. All we have to do is prove to him that she's a gold digger and that all she wants him for is his money. My daughter-in-law broke into my son's emails, stole letters and love letters between him and Aaron. Some of the accusations that she wrote into the letters that she sent to Steve as one of Aaron's phony friends tattling on her literally lay out almost word for word what she ended up doing in a rape allegation against my son. She said that she would send him to jail if he ever left her. I was helping her destroy my son, thinking that I was saving him. As soon as she found out that he was not coming home, the stories completely changed. Abuse allegations, he beat them and kicked them and punched them and raped his daughter. She had those children under her thumb at all times, knew exactly what they were doing at all times. There was no way that this child, following my son's moving out of the house, because she says it didn't begin, the rapes didn't begin until her parents broke up. The original probable cause, 9 cases of child rape, 25 years to life. He did not believe her. In his own words, over and over again in his defense deposition, he didn't believe her until her mother corroborated her stories. Steve demanded to take a lie detector test, and when that test was over, the examiner said Steve's golden. Everything he said was true. We gave Steve's attorney absolutely everything that we could drum up and show him that Steve absolutely was not guilty. And his attorney said that he refused to defend Steve based on the evidence. He came up with his own theory that Steve was just a bad dad and the kids hated him, and so that's why she said this 3 or 4 or 5 years after the fact. Give me an answer to this one question. There were 12 other little girls that Steve had regular family contact with, and not one of them were questioned. My husband cashed in his entire retirement. His mother had passed away 3 months before Steve was arrested. The family settled the estate quickly, sent Ken a check, and Ken literally took both of those checks. They never even made it to our bank account. He took the checks and signed them over to the attorney. When Steve got there the 3rd day of the trial, they took him to a side room. His attorney took him to a side room. So, he wasn't up to hearing a plea. He thought that the day before had gone great, that his daughter had, was all over the board and couldn't give any correct, details. So he was very surprised when a plea deal came down the line. When they presented it to him, he said, "No way." Aaron said, "No." My husband was called in, "Absolutely not." And Steve's attorney slammed his fist on the table and said he was a fucking idiot if he didn't take this deal. Since the day Steve was arrested, we haven't stopped working on this case. Every single day. I do not recall one day, now in over 3 years, that I have not spent my entire day everything else has gone to pot. There is no doubt in my mind that her motivation was revenge. And that is exactly what she got. It's my heartfelt desire that my grandchildren have an opportunity someday, whenever, whether I'm here or gone, that they someday know the truth. Well, we need your help. Seriously. We've exhausted all of our funds. We've done everything that we can to this point to bring our son home, to get the truth told, to hire a new attorney, to get the information in their hands. We have such a volume of information. We have thousands and thousands of pages. You can't just walk into an attorney's office and say, here's a little folder of things and can you help us? And we need your prayers and we need your financial help. Please help us if you can.